Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're here. We're lounging. We're at the Before Work podcast.
Yeah, today we're trying out something new. We're both laying on couches. It's the lazy mode, but
Will this produce better content? We shall see.
Yeah, we'll be so relaxed that all of the energy can go straight to our brains and our mouths.
That's right. That is so right. How was your week?
Been hanging drywall and stuff in my house,
exciting.
which is no, it's not exciting. It's actually a really boring and miserable experience.
Yeah. You just line the drywall up with the studs and finish nail it in?
Yeah, well,
Oh, drywall nail?
you do ceilings first, so I'm working on the ceilings, and my ceilings are really wonky because my house is 1,000,000 years old and nothing's straight or square or the same size or the same distance.
So you'd call yourself an old earther
I'm an old houser.
if your house is 1,000,000 years old.
Yeah, it's 1,000,000 years old. Yep.
This is the Before Work podcast where we talk about our lives growing up in the 90s, specifically surrounding technology.
Yeah. All right. So we teased at the end of the last episode that we were going to talk about the top 10 video games that sold in the 2000s, as in 2000 to 2009, December 31st of 2009. So anywhere but from January 1st, 2000 to December 31st, 2009. And
I did not look anything up this week. I'm coming in fresh, coming in hot, coming in raw, and it's a weird way to put it. I made some predictions last week. My number one prediction, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I can guarantee that's on there.
Yeah.
Is that number one?
No, it's not.
How is that not number one?
You'll understand the list once I go through it.
Okay, so let's start with 10. And then as we go through, we can talk about stuff.
So number 10 is a game that you and I both probably, if we played about 10 seconds of it, but we understand the importance of it, and that is Nintendogs.
Nintendogs. So
for the DS.
So that would be, I'm assuming, all of the Nintendo. So are these franchises or these are individual games?
I don't know how they're classified in here.
Because there was a Nintendogs DS or whatever that it was just that, and then they started to do all of the offshoot versions of them.
I think this might just be Nintendogs. Okay, it just says April 21st, 2005.
Yeah,
23.96 million units.
So it's interesting. The kids were obsessed with that game.
Yeah,
I think you and I agree with you. We probably played 10 seconds of it and that was it. Kids were absolutely obsessed with that game. That's why they made about 8 different versions of it.
Yeah, again, I never really owned a DS. It was just not that important to me. It was Game Boy, and then after that, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
So yeah,
isn't that interesting for people our age? It was Game Boy. I remember Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Advance SP were the
SP was just the best Game Boy there was to play because
it had the backlight.
It had the backlight. It was compact. It lasted for forever. The speakers were decent on it.
Yeah, they were.
And
the back buttons were it had good back buttons.
Yeah, it was the best. It was the pinnacle of Game Boy. And that's sort of where you should end a system, is once you've kind of perfected it, just say this is it, and let's move on to something completely new, which was the DS.
So hey, the SP had a 4:3 screen. Why in my head, why does the Game Boy Advance have a 16:9? But it wasn't. It was a 4:3, right?
I think just because the shape of the Advance was that long,
right? It was the wide
to the right and the left of the screen that just made it feel like it was stretched out, but it wasn't.
Okay.
So, number 9, with they say 25 mil even. I mean, at least 25.00 mil.
Yeah.
Units came out in 2008 was Grand Theft Auto 4.
Grand Theft Auto 4. Okay, so this also then being for platforms because that game came out on PS3 and Xbox 360.
It has multi-platform
as well as wait, and that was 2008.
2008.
I'm wondering if that also came out on the PSP.
It probably did.
But interesting thing about Grand Theft Auto 4, one of the best-selling GTAs of all time, didn't get great reviews, and it wasn't as talked about as GTA 3 and GTA 5 were.
Yeah,
I believe it has something to do. So I played GTAs when my parents didn't know I played GTAs. It didn't happen often, but when it did, it was super super fun. But from what I understand, hardcore GTA players, because at the time you play a lot of, it's really just story mode and exploration.
Yeah.
The main character has a lot to do with hardcore players' time spent with the game. I know that players love 3, they love San Andreas, they love 5. But if I recall, 4 was like this Russian dude. Was like the main character was some Russian guy, and a lot of hardcore players didn't like that. However, it was still GTA, and it sold 25 million copies, which is insane.
Yeah. So yeah, it I never really played GTAs that much, except for like go to a friend's house. And you just like
we don't play until 4 o'clock in the morning.
I couldn't tell you anything about the games other than just like, hey, let's hop in vehicles, run over pedestrians.
Exactly. Yeah, it would never be about missions. It would be about getting enough stars for the cops to have helicopters on you, and you fended them off.
Yeah, like
but it's interesting. That franchise is probably one of the best selling franchises of all time.
Yeah, I think it has the most notoriety. I would say like there's like a notoriety factor that GTA has.
Yeah.
So
it put developers on the map too. Rockstar became Rockstar because of GTA.
Yeah. So next one, number 8, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
That's number 8.
That's number 8. 27.5 million. 2004 when it came out.
I will say that it only came out on it came out PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah. So I think the next 7 games all make a lot of sense once I start going through.
Let me ask you some questions. You know what? Stinking, I forgot. Call of Duty has to be on there.
It is not.
That's unsurprising. How many of the next 7 games are sports games?
Not sports in the way you think they are. I'm just gonna tell you them all, and we'll talk about it all as one big cluster.
Well, wait, hold on. I kind of
you're gonna get it once I say number 7. All of a sudden, you're gonna go, oh crap! I forgot about this big section of games.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Can you
want to redeem yourself, don't you?
Can you give me some form of guess? Don't tell me what it is. Give me a clue that would have me guess what this cluster would be.
Every person who had this console had these games.
Every person who had this. Oh, dude, Halos.
No.
Okay, hold on.
You're missing such a huge segment. A segment in which you you own a lot of these games and you flip a lot of these games.
Pokemon or Mario.
Some Mario, yes.
Some Mario, but that's not the collection that you're talking about.
No.
I own and flip a lot of these games.
Yes.
Hold on.
I'm talking a lot of them because they're worthless, but they're good for GameStop.
Okay, hold on. Give me.
I'm giving you everything.
No, wait.
Come on.
Give me one other hint. So hold on. I'm looking for a franchise here.
Yes.
How many of those games is on this franchise?
The name of the system is in the name of is in the title of the games.
Nintendo Wii, Wii Sports. Oh my goodness, Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah.
Wii Party. No. So hold on. Okay, Wii Sports Resort are 2 of them. How many more in that cluster?
Wii Fit.
I was going to say Wii Fit and Wii Play. Wow.
So those are on there.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Because you got to think, Wii Sports.
It came with every system, and they sold 103 million Nintendo Wiis.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's where it gets weird. But I'll go to number 7. Number 7 is Wii Play. 28 million.
Yep.
Then you have the next is again this is all Nintendo.
Wait, New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
Yep. That's number 6.
That had to be it.
30.28 million. Number 5 is New Super Mario Bros.
Okay.
That was on the DS.
DS, yeah.
Which is crazy. So that game, when it was on the Wii, sold 30 million. When it was on the DS, it sold 30 million.
That's insane.
So together, that was 60 million.
Yeah.
So really, it's number 2, but it's fine because because the new Super Mario Bros. Came out on DS first in 2006, and then the Wii version came out in 2009, 3 years later. So it's they had some variations and all that stuff.
Right.
Then number 4, Wii Sports Resort, 33 mil. Then number 3, Mario Kart Wii, which you also own a bunch of.
Yes.
37.2
all of
million.
those in some way came with the system.
Yeah, and then Number 2, Wii Fit with Wii Fit Plus. They combine that together.
That's just ridiculous.
And that's 43.8 million.
43. Oh my.
And then
what's number? Wait, hold on. So is number 1 a super?
No,
is
number 1's Wii Sports.
Number 1's Wii Sports, right?
Wii Sports
82 some million. Yeah.
82.88 million. So.
Okay, it's so disgusting. But even Wii Fit had some bundles with systems.
Yeah.
Every single one of those came with systems.
Yeah.
So here, okay, we can talk Wii for a little bit. So Wii was like people like you and I didn't get into Wii.
Yeah, I had a Wii. I played it.
I had a Wii too.
But
just didn't. But like it was a casual gamer system.
Yeah, like the games that were more competitive or more kind of hardcore, like in an M-rated way, but hardcore as in just like more in a more dedicated way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember I got Call of Duty 3 for the Wii, and I tried to play it where you play it like where you got the little gun accessory. And you try to actually hold and shoot like it's a gun. Horrible,
just awful,
so annoying. So I ditched that and went to holding it like just like the Wii and the Wii the nunchuck thing, holding them separate, and eventually I just ditched that.
Just doesn't feel right.
And I just put a GameCube controller in. And I beat the game, and then it also just didn't play super well on the Wii. It was too intense of a graphics experience, which is hilarious to think about. I think I ended up getting Call of Duty 3 for like Xbox 360 later, and playing it again and having a much better experience.
Call of Duty's played so smooth on the 360. But sure, let's talk Wii for a second. We had this completely gimmick system that hardcore gamers did not like. If they said that they did, they were lying. Like this gimmick system that Nintendo had for generations, sold 100+ million of them, and then completely went back. I guess the Wii U came out, it flopped, but it came out for like a year or two. Now they're back to the Switch, which I suppose is still gimmick, but it's definitely more of a home console hardcore gamer system.
I think the Switch has the right balance of approachability while also while still being able to meet the needs of a more competitive gamer. So
sure.
I mean, you got to think about you can get
the fact that it has Skyrim on it.
You can get Skyrim on it, but a lot of games are coming out on it. A lot of games are getting ported over to it, but also that you can get a good controller for it and you can play it that way. You can play it on a screen.
You can get pro controllers,
or you can just pick it up and take it anywhere, which is super nice. So and when you play as the handheld setup, except for if you play it a lot, here's the problem. This is the big issue of the Switch, which we don't have to get too much into, but is Joy-Con drift. That's the big plague of it right now. So people who play a lot handheld, their Joy-Cons, the analog sticks on them get drift, where like you won't be touching them at all, and it'll
start moving.
It'll have slight ghost input. But other than that, most people who play a lot will get the Pro controller or plug-in GameCube controller. It's not a big deal.
Sure.
And you just play that way. That's just the way people like to do it.
And I know that they're looking to make a Switch Pro at some point, which is interesting because
the Switch Lite.
Yeah, so the new Xbox, the new PlayStation are going to come out. We're all talking new stuff, but real quick, we will for 5 minutes. The new next-gen systems are coming out holiday of this year. So the Switch coming out in 2016, and they just come out with the new version of the Switch Lite this past year. Like, will they come out with a Switch Pro to compete? Because people are going to not buy new Switches unless they drop it $100 because they're going to be purchasing next gen. Like, what does Nintendo do? I feel like they set the pace with the NES back in the 80s and the SNES, and they basically own the video game market for 2 generations. And then they kept up with PlayStation 1 with the N64. They kept up with the PS2 with the GameCube, and then starting with the Wii, they went and just did their own stinking thing. Now, they for sure won that generation in regards to sales, but after that, now they've been doing these like 0.5 systems. So like the Wii U is a 0.5, the Switch is kind of like a 0.5, but they don't have these like they're going a different direction. But can they sustain that when they have 2 powerhouses that in Sony and Microsoft that are coming out with normal generation systems every 7 years?
I think they're also trying to beat in the game market, because I think people are starting to kind of get sick of the basically repeat games. Like they're done with like, why do we keep buying the this 17, the this 4, the this 5? These games that just have they're the same game just slightly updated.
Yeah.
They're shelling out $60 for people. Are like, why are we doing this? I think that's starting to trend in there, where I think they're starting to focus on, because again, the Switch, other than indie games, which again, people who are into indie games love the Switch because there's a huge indie game scene for it. The way that you can get games onto the Switch is actually pretty easy when it comes to development. That they have low barriers, which is nice. So like, there's 1.5 million indie games, but that's also happening on the PlayStation and on the Xbox as they realize that you can make a lot of money by selling $3 to $4 games.
Right.
But same thing, and I think that they're gonna try to keep up with the game market, because people buy Switches because of Mario Kart, because of Smash.
I think Switch just passed SNES. It's at 40 some million, or maybe even 50 million sold.
Yeah, so that helps. But I do think that they quickly realized with the Wii that the Wii strictly like family friendly party game aspect.
Yeah.
Again, like
it wasn't I've never played a Wii game with a Wiimote and nunchuck. I guess maybe except for Wii Sports, that was fun.
Yeah, Wii Sports was like,
it was fun because it was different.
It was fun because it was different, and it was fun because it was stupid. Like it was not a sophisticated game. It didn't need to be. Like no one played, the tennis game, and like you would get into it, but not in a serious capacity. It wasn't like you were trash talking your friends the next day about how they lost in Wii Sport Tennis. In the moment, you were like, you would love to get into it just for the competitive nature of being a human being, and being a teenager. Like sometimes you just like to ramp things up to 10 just for the fun of ramping them up to 10.
For sure.
So that was one of the best parts about Wii Sports, is that at the end of the day, if you did lose, it was sort of like, that's hilarious. Let's play again.
Because the fact that there was wins or losses didn't matter.
Yeah, and like if you did win, like let's say you lost to somebody 3 times or whatever, and then you beat them, like in some ways it was just a random chance, but it did feel like you won something, and it felt good. But again, it just didn't have that same like. It wasn't like a competitive game like Call of Duty.
Very
or Halo.
surface level. It was just a very surface level game.
Yeah, you didn't spend hours crafting technique, and you didn't watch YouTube videos on how to be better at it.
Correct. And that was, I would say, I would be willing to bet most of the Wii. But I mean, it's so interesting though. I guess the Wii single-handedly jump-started motion control and video use.
Yeah.
For every system beyond that. But like those things, it's so crazy how it went so well for the Wii. It's not like it's changed the game for other systems. Like motion control is not any form of a point of seller for other systems. And how crazy that I'm pretty sure, does the Switch have any motion, like
the
the gamepad?
Yeah, the Joy-Cons have motion with them. So like the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, you can play it where like when you're playing on the screen, you use just one of them.
Right.
You move around, you can pick up items and stuff, but when you want to throw a Pokeball, you do the motion.
It's definitely not as dependent as like the Wii was 100% dependent on motion control.
Yeah, they learned that the motion control has to be a piece, not the whole thing.
Yeah,
like nothing.
But how crazy is it that the Wii still, even though it was the whole thing, again, they just went into the casual game market like no one ever did before, and they sold 100+ million systems. Like, it's so wild.
Yeah, what I do think is
they were also cheap. Like they weren't selling for. Like they weren't $400 for the first 5 years. Like they eventually went down to $150, $125 a piece.
Yeah. What I think is kind of weird is that, and again, this is like a childhood versus now kind of situation with the Switch and the Wii. The Wii had Netflix. The Wii had YouTube.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
The Wii had an internet browser in it. I mean, it was. I can't even imagine using the internet browser while
I'm sure that'd be awful.
Point the hand and try to type on a keyboard. That I would have just never used
Terrible.
it.
Yeah.
I used the Netflix, I think, for a little bit,
Yeah.
just because it was a smart device and that was like cool whenever I didn't have a smart TV or other smart devices.
I think it was app based, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what's weird about that compared to the Switch? Switch doesn't have Netflix. Switch does not have any of that.
Really?
Which that's
How's that
where
possible?
like I know why they
Does the
didn't do
operating
it.
system just not allow streaming easily?
Well,
or?
so when it came out, they were like, it's not a part of it. It might be one day, but it's not now. And then they just haven't done it. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you're trying to compete in that market and you don't have that, because it's mobile. I mean, imagine if you could get Netflix on that.
Yeah.
When you're at home, download a season of a show onto it. It has an SD card slot.
It's bigger than your phone.
Yeah, it's bigger than your phone, and you can take it with you, and you could watch movies.
Right.
And you could play. And again, it has an SD card, so you can up the storage on there. So if you want to make it a big media device where you have 100 games, but you also have a bunch of movies and TV shows and all these services, I feel like that'd make it an even easier no-brainer, because they also are really good with parental control. So you could, as a parent, if you want to have this with your kid, you do a vacation where you're driving 12 hours or something to the beach or whatever. You can load them up with games and you can let them go. But then when you get on the vacation, you can lock down the Switch where they only have 2 hours a day where they can watch Netflix.
Right.
Because they have all that built-in parental control stuff. It's like the most parent-friendly thing. As a person who's going to buy the system, like you're the parents are the one buying the system. Like the Switch mostly sold to kids. I mean, they did also sold really well to people who were adults and paid for it themselves, because now that you have now that the people who started playing video games when they're younger are now adults and parents, and they're buying the systems as a family thing.
Sure.
And the other factor of it is that the Switch is a much more personal system than the Wii, so it would encourage them to have more Switches in a household. If you have, I mean, we have a buddy who has four boys. Two of them are in the right age group, and he has 2 Switches for them. I think he actually has 3, because he has one for himself.
Yeah, he might.
Well, he's a sicko, but whatever. But that's just like how it goes. Like, and I feel like that would help sell more of them, if that you can have your own Netflix account, so that your first child has one and he has all of his Netflix stuff, or Hulu, or I don't know, PBS Kids or whatever.
Sure.
And then it moves over to the other one. It just makes sense to me as someone who wants to make money.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, going back to the Wii, like Nintendo. Okay, so they've always just done their thing.
Yeah, they
ever
are.
Since the '80s, they've done their thing. It's just so tough for me to see how. So, man, it's so tough for me to see, like, if this like 0.5 generation upgrades, because okay, so the Wii U was a 0.5 upgrade from the Wii. The Switch is a 0.5 upgrade from the Wii U. Like it's the same system. It's just like the next upgrade of that. But it's like, how long can they sustain that?
It holds on
is
its
the
own a lot
question.
better than the Wii U, but
I mean, I guess too, if they're, I guess like if they keep with that model of like, okay, you have a portable system with a at-home system.
Yeah.
There's no, except for your cell phone, there's no other mobile gaming competitor. Like there isn't, like they have the mobile game market in regards to game brand. Now, obviously with your phone, like it's different, but
yeah, and that's where also I think I feel like it'd be so smart for them to also do like an LTE version.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you could get cell phone reception on your Switch and you could do online gaming mobile, or you can get games mobile, or it just, I don't know. It seems like they have people who already want it for a very good reason. And if they just add some more features, it'd be an easy sell to a lot of people who are on the fence.
Right.
But also I feel like they could make more money, because imagine if they had, so they make a Switch 2, which I think that they want to basically like use the Switch platform and just upgrade it for like continued use or whatever. And they make an LTE version that you can upcharge on, like what Apple does with iPads. Like you can
$30 a month,
or like you could do. Yeah, I think that they would probably have to leave it where people would be able to tie it to their cell phone plan. I don't know how that would work exactly, but I think that'd be the best route. Would let people use their cell phone plan with it,
Yeah.
because it would just be simpler that way. But again, that's just to me what would make sense. But yes, I'm not Nintendo. I'm not in Japan.
That's
So
right. We're here in America.
we're here in America, and I guess maybe Nintendo of America might listen to us.
Yeah.
Nintendo, if you're out there,
If you're out there, if you're one of our listeners, we'll see. I'm always so. I guess with video games, I've just learned as a collector and a collector,
Yeah.
that it's the obscure things that hold value. So whether that's like obscure games that only sold X number of whatever,
Mhm.
or just obscure accessories, those are the things that hold value. Like the Wii Mote and the Wii Mote nunchuck.
yeah,
I'd be willing to bet in 10 years will be valuable just because of the fact that you can only use them for those systems. And as those accessories break,
yeah,
it's not like you can get another controller that'll work on that system. Like you need the Wiimote. So I've probably bought and sold 60 or 70 Wiimotes in the past couple years. I own 8 like really good condition ones,
yeah.
but I'm always thinking to myself, should I just be hanging on to these? But at the same time, like, I don't want to just store Wiimotes in my house. My wife won't be super pumped about that.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, it was just such an obscure system. But how crazy is it? It has the top selling video games of the decade and the top selling system of the decade.
yeah. I think
I guess if you took the PS2 was both decades, but
yeah.
no. It came out PS2 came out in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
PS2
no, I think it came out in '99.
maybe like super late. Maybe it was holiday 99.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess it technically it would have been the Wii would have been the second best selling console in that decade.
Yeah, well, it's definitely just weird because I also think that the Wii was trying to push itself into other areas, like into like education areas, and
It did.
into
It did. You're right.
into those kind of other spaces. And I don't think it worked as well as it wanted to. But I also think that
You want to know what's crazy? The SNES and the N64 did the same thing. So Nintendo's actually always had these educational games, which is weird. Like they used to have weird educational games back in the late 80s, early 90s, and like throughout the 90s. The GameCube, they kind of went away from that, but yeah, it's interesting how with the Wii they kind of went back to that.
Yeah, because the Wii Fit games, Wii Fit Plus, like
it
they were
became
about,
very
like it was a health game.
Yeah,
trying to help you. Like you could
yeah.
actually like people. I mean, a very small number of people actually did a lot with it, but some people did use that game to help them become more healthy, which is
nuts.
weird because again they're kind of flipping the script on what video games were thought of then. But also, I mean, I remember they have games and they didn't sell as well, but games that were like education oriented and stuff, and it's very, very bizarre. Like, but that's just how it goes. Like that's Nintendo.
That's Nintendo. They throw knows, so much at the wall.
Yeah, but they have the ability to have. They know that they have 4 games that are going to just sell super well.
They all
a ton of money.
They all start with Mario.
Yeah, they all start with Mario or Super.
Yeah,
and so they have those games. They're gonna make them like most of their money. Say with Pokemon games, like they're gonna make them all their money, and then they can like dabble in other weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they do. They
Yeah, they do.
It's weird.
Remember all the Cooking Mama games?
Yeah. But that's weird about like the Wii is that I feel like Nintendo also. I mean, they have games for the Wii that are made by other developers, but they develop a lot of their own games. Like it's like you don't see Sony pushing out a ton of games.
No.
Microsoft does some. Like Forza, I think is developed by them, and they put a lot of stock into like the Halo series, and I think the same thing with Call of Duty. Like they were in tandem with development, but like they have most of the PlayStation games and most of the Xbox games are developed by other people with very little of their input into it. But Nintendo, they make a lot of games that are them, or you'll see a lot of games where it was like they were involved.
But dude, the Wii. So as someone that's collected and bought and sold a lot of Wii games, they had so much shovelware, which is basically just like cheap games that aren't worth anything and that were worthless and just flopped, but like aren't worth. Like I would say most of their library was just crap games.
Yeah,
like there's so many games that are just worth pennies now, more than I'd say maybe any other system. Like
Yeah.
they just had so much junk, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But because like the Wii came back with, okay, so the GameCube being more for hardcore gamers, then the Wii being more casual, it would have games like exciting racing, or like guitar playing simulator, or like sit in chair person. Like they would have just so many random games that
Goat
had
Simulator.
just like that had just nothing, no replayability or even playability, but they were games because the casual game market exploded.
Oh, speaking of crappy games, do you remember the Burger King video games?
Yeah, it was like the Sneak King, and then it was that one where he rode around in the neighborhood on a tricycle or something.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a weird, like
it was a
almost
weird promotion for the Xbox 360.
Yeah, it was a promotion for that. It's a promotion for Burger King, but it was also like the games were just weird.
Yeah.
And they played like it wasn't like they were like fake games; they were real games. But they
real discs.
So people developed these games for them, and like in the one that they were very simple and they didn't really have much replayability. But I just remember being like, "That's impressive." They spent money and time into that
on developing games.
Yeah, so it's
but at the time, because it was HD gaming. So at the time, I remember because my buddy got all of them from. We used to go to Burger King, and because he had a 360, he'd get all the games, and like they looked good. Like for the time, like they look good. How crazy is it now? If you look at current gen games that come out, so I think probably for both of us, we weren't super into the current gen. Like I think our time with PS1, PS2, PS3, and then the other systems around those were definitely our heyday.
Oh yeah.
But like if you look at some of the incredible graphics on the current gen, PS4 and Xbox One specifically.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, I'm still thinking like, wow, PS3 graphics are good. And then like, so you see those graphics, then go back to PS3 and you're like, wow, these are awful. But I remember being a teenager, 13, 14, 15 years old, watching Xbox 360 and PS3 games and saying, it's like it's real life.
Yeah.
But it's crazy now to look back at those and be like, those were crappy. You could see awful textures and you could see pixels still.
Yeah,
like,
I do remember that they were pushing on the Xbox 360 about how you could see sweat on like NBA players.
Yeah, I remember.
And like,
games. Like you could see them like raise their eyebrows and stuff.
Yeah, and it's like whoa. And then like now you look back and it just looks like
there was no skin, like the texture, like there was no texture. It was just color.
It was these like smooth like spheres for heads, and then they would just have these like little dots that would appear and move down, which was like white dots. They spent all this time making this like sweat texture, and we thought it was so cool. But now you look back, and you're like, that's just not. That's not even that great.
Yeah, it's not that great.
And you go back and you look at like the first Tomb Raider on the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, when it was just blocks.
Yeah.
So one thing I've done, which is it's kind of interesting. So and I think we talked about this last week. The FIFA 14 came out for the PS2, which is absolutely unbelievable.
Yes.
FIFA 14 came out. You can go onto YouTube and find videos. And I know we're over time now. We'll have to end here soon, but you can find videos of like early system games and late system games and see the progression of graphics.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty remarkable with the like early PS2 games didn't look good.
No,
they just didn't, because they didn't know how to use the power of the system yet.
Yeah,
like they looked like slightly upgraded PS1 games, whereas the end of the cycle, like it was borderline PS3 games. And actually, for the original Xbox, you could buy component cables and play a couple games with on 720p. Like, it was only a few games, but towards the end of the life cycle of the original Xbox, you could get component cables and play 720p, which is pretty crazy. Which 720p was I would say, a majority of the next generation, the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah.
Played it at 720p.
Now we got the 4K and the 8K TVs coming out.
I know, dude. Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. I was in Sam's Club 2 days ago. They only sell 4K TVs, basically.
Yeah.
90% of the TVs are 4K now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being someone 5 years ago that spent $8,000 on a 4K TV? Oh, they're so cheap now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you're right. They'll start selling 8Ks here in the next couple of years.
It'll be weird. But all right, this was that episode of the Before Work podcast where we talked about video games again.
A
big surprise, I know. Everyone out there is just shocked.
next week? Are we doing consoles?
I don't know. We can do we do whatever we want. I don't know. I'm not sure. Do you want to do another episode of video games? We can or we can't. I don't know. Actually, how about this? I won't look at anything. You decide.
All right, deal.
I picked these two. You can pick the next one.
All right, I'll come up with like something obscure from the 90s, early 2000s, and we'll talk about it. So
Perfect.
this has been the Before Work podcast.
God bless America.
God bless America.